All right, so let's figure out what's going on now as we move deeper into our study of King Lear. And really, I want to think about character and the way in which all these characters at the moment are all impacting on each other. It's a family drama and it's a family tragedy more than anything else. So we start with really the one that's representational of family tragedy and villainy in family. Here we have two brothers, Edgar and Edmund. And what we see here is Edmund being the villain and the classic villain. And next year you'll study Othello. And when you study Othello, you'll meet a character called Iago, who's considered Shakespeare's greatest villain. Edmund comes close. And villainy works through persuasion. Villainy works because people are weak. It's not necessarily the villain just being bad and everyone's caught up in the villain being bad while everyone's trying to be good. It's the way in which the villain engages with the good and the way in which the villain forces the hand of the hero and pressures them into making these decisions and choices. And so when Edmund behaves a certain way to his father, it's really exposing his father's weakness more than the villainy of Edmund himself. The villain only works if people are weak. So the villains are, through time, classically played in that manipulative way. There's an image, say, of Loki, and he's looking right at us, which is always the villain's pose. The hero looks across us to the future. So we're also dealing with the main story as well, the main plot, our mad king, and our king who is a king without real power, a king who has given up all that he wants but has maintained kingly behaviour. It's very much a study on vanity and very much a study on what we would like to be when we're older and how we see ourselves and how we really are. So for Lear, his only mirror is his fool, and that's why his fool gives him these little sayings to help him out and help him understand himself. And Lear enjoys that because I think he needs it, otherwise he would go completely mad and insane. Cordelia at the moment is out of the frame. She's out of the picture. She has not come back. She will make a few appearances in letters and other areas, and she will talk about the fact that she needs to come back and heal England's wounds, but she's biding her time. She's hiding away in another world at this point. Kent will receive a letter regarding that. Goneril. Goneril, as we know, has kicked Lear out. And she's done so because the behaviour of his knights was untenable and unconscionable. But one must consider the duty a child has toward the parent and an understanding of the parent's own diminished capacity to live their life. And so we wonder at this point if Goneril's actions relate to her words in the earlier part of the play. And they certainly don't. The very first thing that Goneril does is mistreat Lear, even after she says she loves him more than anything else. And love, the definition of love is meant to be it's unequivocal. It doesn't actually get challenged the way that Goneril challenges it. And Lear, as we know, has condemned her to a life of barrenness and that she won't have any children, which in those days was quite the insult. Regan will now take Lear on, and this is a pretty dangerous situation because she is quick to punitive punishments. And we're going to see her, she'll put Kent in the stocks, she'll chain up his legs. And she is vicious and quite violent and quite unhinged in many ways. And so her behaviour and giving her all this power is a very dangerous game. And the idea that these children who are manifested in a closed society should be given power simply through hereditary is something that Shakespeare is constantly questioning. The Fool continues to give Lear his great insight. Always look to his imagery and his metaphors. As I said, with Donkey and his onion thing and the way he questions that, the Fool is looking for the perfect way to show Lear his truth without actually telling him straight out, because if he told him straight out, he would lose his head. But he has told Lear a very important thing: you would make a great fool. Now, there's a lot going on in that particular sentence and phrase. It's one I would remember and one I would actually start to think about deconstructing a little further. Kent, as we can see there, Kent in disguise, hiding away until the rightful king's put back on the throne. Kent's behaviour causes a lot of trouble for Lear and for Cordelia and for everyone in the play. He cannot give up the old ways. And it's also another issue that the older generation does struggle when the newer generation comes along with the way of doing things, because the newer generation has a different way. The older generation says, but my way led to success. My way led to me being who I am. How could you not follow the way I did it? Without seeing that without revolution, there's stagnation. So Kent really is a device in this play for action. Otherwise, there wouldn't be much action. There wouldn't be much happening at all. Kent's the one who forces the hand of most people in the area. So as we go through Act 2, start to look at the character moments. And I want you to start to think about the language of each character, what they say to each other, and what that gives away to the audience. That's the way in which we study Shakespeare. So really map out each character and say, okay, I want to find 10 great speeches or great lines that each character says. I'm going to give that time in a study document. And that's something we'll be looking at in the next couple of lessons once we get through the play. Enjoy.